We are finishing up our series on the GoPro skills that we've been looking at. And today it's on follow-up. And I think it's exactly what we need. We're right in the middle. We're not in the middle. We're about 20 days in on our 90-day plan. And so my guess is we all have at least 20 people that we've connected with already. And so the follow-up, and I'm literally looking at my list of people. I have a lot of people to follow up with. Anybody else with me on regarding follow-up? So before we jump into what we're going to talk about today, someone give me an illustration of here's how I followed up and here was the result. Here's what I said here's what I sent, which day I sent and what it was about. And here's how I followed up and here's what consequently happened. Anybody have a success story they want to share with us? Karen, yay, I can count on you.
Well, I just happened to think of one I did this morning. Let me pull it up here real quick. It was and actually a friend, neighbor, who's also in a bunco group that I started, Peggy.
And I love that. Let me stop you there. If you're having trouble finding prospects, do what Karen just did. Start a bunco group, start a group. I love that.
Yeah. So I said, I followed up with her and said, hey, Peggy, just checking in to see what you thought of the capsules. Cause I gave her about a 10-day supply, which was generous, but I knew she would appreciate them. So I said, it does actually take 4 full months for the cells to replicate and into healthy ones. That's why Juice Plus is sold with 4-month shipments. But most people after a week to 10 days do notice a slight difference, which only improves over time. Also, you can get a free child's order with an adult order if you're interested in continuing. I hope you have a wonderful day. And she said, good morning, Karen. I am interested. And she said, I'm down south right now, but I'll be home by the end of the week. I said, that's wonderful. And I would be thrilled to have you as part of my Juice Plus family. We can do an order over the phone so that you don't lose any time. You pay monthly over 4 months, so you don't have to pay in full unless you want to. So,
woo. Karen's always great with the verbiage. All right. So what did you send her? What video was that she watched?
She watched all of them. I mean, I sent her the Bridging the Gap and the complete one and the Omega one with Dr. Roberto. Those are always my go-to ones. And actually the Tower Garden montage as well.
So going back to, you always do a great job with your follow-up. So what's your system with the following up on this 90-day plan or 90-day challenge?
Yeah, well, I as every Sunday I set up a list of who I'm going to contact for the week, but I go back over from the 90-day challenge and look at who I sent what, and then I just add them to my hot hands list of what I want to say to them and follow up with them.
So it's taken once a week. You sit down and make a plan,
right?
How many people do that? All right, good. I think that's the key is making a plan so that we're ready and we can hit the ground running. Well, I'm going to share with you today just a little bit from Eric Worre's chapter on the follow-up process. And I loved what the first block there, who did I, basically looking at these people who you're reaching out to. Here's a list of different things that you can reach out to them about. Number one, and he talked about just inviting them to an event. And I spoke about this earlier on the Leadership Huddle, but yesterday, Susan Fulkerson had an event at her house. And Susan, you'll probably walk away with what, 4 or 5 customers and possibly a partner, right?
Right.
So create an event. And I think that event was kind of put together quickly, but it was successful. And so I'm going to challenge y'all, when you're thinking about this Crown Jewel event, she invited a ton of people, 76 people. So now she's got 76 people to reach out to. That'll take you through the 90 days for sure. So think about having an event and inviting people. Don't worry if they come or not. what you've done is opened up a door to be able to connect with them about Juice Plus. I think inviting someone to an event is the quickest way to really build your list of contacts, and start the conversation with a lot of people simply by inviting to an event. You know, this 90-day challenge that we're in, you're getting a video almost every day, but sharing a video or being specific. A lot of times I'll send someone a video, and I had basically, let's say, I think 5 people that I talked to when my mom was in rehab. So I started with the video, and then I followed it up by saying, give me a little bit more information, because I talked to all of them at one time. They were talking about my mom's skin and how quickly she healed. And I was like, it's the Juice Plus. And they all were like, we've been giving it to her. Tell us all about it. So I sent them all a video, but then I followed it up by saying, give me something specific about you so I can tailor the information I'm sending. So I think the more tailored we can get, I think the better the results we're going to get. Invite them to a conference call. You know, we've got these calls that not only do our team puts on, but also Juice Plus has all kinds of conference calls that we can invite people to, or go to the recordings, find something and send some of those. There's some great stuff on that recordings. Create a 3-way call. Susan, you're getting a lot of shout outs today, but Susan and a lady was at the event yesterday. Susan reached out to her about potentially wanting to see if she wanted to hear about the business. So we're doing a 3-way call after this. Who can you do a 3-way call with? Sometimes it's somebody else may make a better connection than I would with someone. So who would I want to connect with based on who am I talking to, and add them into the mix? So utilize the 3-way calls. Give away samples. On Thursday, I sent out, I think, 15 little notes, individual notes. And I sent the new soy packets to like 15 people. And some of them I sent regular complete also, and some perform. But I just spent a huge part of my afternoon. So now I've got about 15 people I can follow back up with and see if I can't turn those into orders. To me, samples is a really easy way to get people interested in our complete shakes. You just can't you cannot beat them. And so I'm just thinking I probably need to do a whole nother batch of people who have been customers for years who probably I probably hadn't even told them about complete. And kind of back to what Ann was talking about on the leadership huddle, when you look at the cost of fruits and vegetables today and anything, those complete shakes are a huge value that we can send to people. So give away some samples, and then, you know, have casual meetings. Hey, I'll meet you for coffee. Hey, let's meet for lunch. And get 2 or 3 people together. And I guarantee you'll talk about Juice Plus just simply by meeting with people. So maybe take a snapshot of that list. And as you're making those connections with people, vary the connections, as well as maybe that initial 90-day message you may have started it, but these things here may continue the conversation based on what, and we're going to talk about based on your conversation after you've sent the initial message. So ask yourself this: do I have a system? And I think right now this 90-day plan is our system. That's an easy system to follow. I started to make my plan for this week, and I thought, my plan's already made, because I've just keep adding to these 90 slots, and it's easy. So we've got a system in place with our 90 days right now. But what do I need to do is I need to set up the next exposure. So if I've made one connection, I have to set up the next exposure, and it's going to be one of these things here that we just mentioned on the left. The next thing would be okay, now that I've set up the next exposure, what questions do I need to ask them? You know, you hear me say, Scott says it all the time, he who asks the questions guides the conversation. What questions do I need to ask that person in particular? So prior to that phone call, that Zoom call, that meeting, what questions do I think that person needs? And maybe it's a question like, I've got this gal, Joan, who is an RN at the rehab. She responded to my message and said, yes, I want Juice Plus. So I know nothing about Joan other than I started telling her about the Children's Health Study. And she was like, I don't have any kids. So I'm like, well, Joan, let's talk. Tell me a little bit more about you so we can kind of tailor. I want to know more about you. So it's asking those series of questions that's going to develop and build a relationship with this person. And then this is the thing that I mess up on, and I don't know, maybe you guys are good at it, maybe you're not, but condensing the exposures. Sometimes I take too long between that first initial text, or I may make a phone call, but then I let it, if you let it go more than 3 or 4 days, what happens? It goes cold. And all that work we've done, we've lost it. They've lost interest. So I'm saying this to myself. And if you're guilty like I am, condense the exposures, because if we string them out too long, we lose them. Okay. So when I'm asking this series of questions, anybody who wants to chime in, I'd love to hear. So kind of back to it, and Karen, you always have great verbiage. Thank you for sharing that with us. So first of all, it's kind of that introduction question. So I've already sent them a text. Now I want to follow up with them. What would be some good intro questions? Maybe some one-liners. So I was thinking about this before the call today. So a lot of times I'll say, hey, so-and-so, Joan, we'll use Joan. She's somebody I'm working on now. Hey, Joan, I just wanted to circle back around. Or, hey, Joan, I just wanted to touch base with you. What's a line an opening line that some of you guys use? Anybody, just pop for it.
I just always ask them, say, hi, how are you, whatever. And just say, did you get a chance to review the information I forwarded you?
All right. Good.
And that generally sparks a conversation.
Okay. Anybody else?
I sent a video on the omegas to a friend of mine who is only doing the shakes. I found out about her from running the marathon with Juice Plus, and her friend runs it. So she wanted to order the shakes. I went back to her and I said, have you ever heard about the omegas? And I gave the little spiel and I sent the video. And then today, she asked me, she said, I've never heard of omegas. How much do they cost? And so I explained. And then today, I wanted to get back with her, like you said, while it was fresh. And I said, what did you find the most interesting about the omega video that I sent? Instead of, did you like it?
I like it. So you're getting ahead of me, Sandy, because we're coming to that question.
Sorry.
That's okay, but we're going to come back. We're going to circle back around, because I think what you did was you took one order and parlayed it into another. And I think that's excellent. So intro questions, just kind of getting the ball going. The next thing he talked about was mirroring questions. So sometimes, and I'm coming back to you, Sandy, you're a couple more down there, the row. Mirroring questions. How about if you reach out to someone and they say, oh my gosh, I've just been so busy. So he was talking about mirroring questions would be, we always want to agree with them. People love to be agreed with. So what if you reach out to someone and say, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, it's taken me a while to get back to you. I've been so busy with XYZ. What would be a mirroring question back to them?
Is that where the feel, I feel the same way?
Not
I understand how you feel.
That's coming, not quite. So a mirroring. So they're like, oh my gosh, I've been so busy. So I think coming back to them and agreeing This is a bit, I agree. This is a busy time of year, man. Everybody's trying to get their kids ready to get back to school. All you're doing is people love it when you agree with them. And those mirroring questions, it just gets you on the same page with them. So this is kind of a series of questions that you're working through with people and you're getting them on the same page. So intro is kind of leading into it, mirroring and is just kind of mirroring what they're saying and agreeing with them. The next stage would be that transition. So I think transitioning into a question that kind of gets you going down that path that you want them to go down. So what would be a good transition? So I've introed in, I've mirrored a question. What would be a good transitioning question?
For me, it would be more of a statement, but it would be something like, I was hoping that you're still interested in being healthy with me.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. So you've just mirrored with her. And then by asking a transition question, I really like that one, Anne. What you want, and probably subconsciously, is they're going to mirror back with you. Yep. And especially when you put, who's going to say, nah, I'm not really into health.
I'm not into my health. Yeah.
Yeah. People aren't going to do that. You've just kind of, even if they're not quite there, you've kind of elevated them to another level, to the point that, you know what, maybe I do need to be, say that statement again, Anne.
I'm hoping that you're still interested in being healthy with me. Most of the people I see face to face, and they always say to me, is this all you do is Juice Plus? Because, you know, I have lost 40 pounds in 2 years, and they see the difference in me and they want to know why.
Wow.
So, and I say, if you see my lab work, and I do bring my lab work every time I get it, because I want them to see this is all I've done differently.
Wow. Wow. That's powerful. That's a powerful transition question. I love that. Write that down. I'm writing it. I'm writing that one down. Okay. So we've gone from intro, kind of, you know, transitioned in. We've done some mirroring back and forth. We've just done a transitional question. Then what would be some good follow-up questions?
Or what questions popped up when you saw the videos?
Okay, I like that. I like that, Dale. So saying, I hope you had a chance, let's just be positive, to watch the video that I sent. Did some questions pop up once you watched that video? So that's great. Anything else? Any other follow-up questions can anybody think of? You know, another term I'll say is, you know, did that resonate with you? Did the video resonate with you? And if so, what was it that resonated with you? I think someone was going to say something.
That was me.
Yes, please say.
You know, sometimes you can just pick out something in that video that you gave them. And, you know, like they were concerned about, you know, their veins in their legs, or they were concerned about headaches, something. So did you happen to notice what the vineyards do for your body? Something like that.
I like
something that correlates with the problem they had given you.
Excellent. I love
energy,
that.
You know, energy. I always use that. Gosh, just, I know what you mean. You've been so busy. I don't know what I'd do if I did not have Juice Plus to fuel my body every day.
Love it. I love how she mirrored. She went mirrored right and went down to almost a follow-up question. That's awesome. I love that. So tie in the video to exactly whatever they've previously told you is going on. Let me see. Anybody else on these follow-up questions? You know, another line I've used is what made sense to you. This is what made sense to me. How about clarifying questions? So what we're doing is it's like an onion, and we're just kind of peeling away and getting to know them more and more so that we can service them. And also we're creating a need as we go. So a clarifying question might be something like, let's tag off of what Linda said. So they've told you they're not getting good circulation in their legs. So then a clarifying question, you know, so if Linda's saying, hey, did you see when they talked about the berry blend, you know, here's what it's doing. I've seen it really have an impact with circulation. Is circulation then one of your issues? You know, they may have not have come out and said that. And then, so you're just kind of clarifying more and more whatever route you're going down. So I think here, back to Sandy Thompson, I think here's where you start doing that feel, felt, what is it? Allison, are you still on here? Allison always uses, is it feel, felt?
Feel, felt, found.
Feel, felt, found. I think that in that follow-up question area is a good time for that feel, felt, found. Allison, I know you use this all the time. I was going to have you talk about, give us an example of using feel, felt, found. Are you still on here?
Hey, yes. Sorry, I've got my son and daughter-in-law here. Yes, I like using that one, just especially if they have an objection, like if you're talking to someone and they say they eat plenty of fruits and vegetables, or maybe they say it's expensive or whatever it may be, then I do like to say, oh my gosh, I know how you feel. We felt that same way too, until we found out X, you know, whatever it may be, like, oh, I know how you feel. We have been conscientious about how we eat. And then I found out when I really started counting how little variety I'm getting, you know, when I look, whatever it might be. But
I love that. And if you notice when she just said that, she's mirroring kind of back. Again, you're using that mirroring question as well, and you're kind of getting them now to agree back with you. If you get people agreeing with you, which is why it's always good getting them talking, because the more they talk, the more they're going to become in agreement with you. And when the people agree with you, then it's hard not to say, yeah, I want Juice Plus after I've just agreed with you. So I think that feel, felt, found is a great tool. I don't think I use it like I should. And hearing Allison walk through it makes me think, okay, I've got to really implement that more. And I think that allows you then to kind of get into that more clarifying questions to hear more about what their issues are. Another thing you talked about was bridging questions. So, and here was kind of a bridging question yesterday when I was at Susan's house. She was helping write up an order for someone. And Susan, it was the lady who I think is on another supplement. I'm wondering if it was Balance of Nature, actually, because that question came up. And so it was her question allowed me to really go deeper into Juice Plus and what makes Juice Plus unique, why Juice Plus, why we have research on Juice Plus. And it kind of bridged us into the conversation of research, in that you show me another product that has one research, peer-reviewed medical research study, and Juice Plus has 40 plus. And that alone, there's a lot of distinguishing factors, but that alone is huge. And so kind of bridging a question and answering that question, let's just say I didn't ask her, she brought it up, but I could say, what supplements are you on now? And bridging that question into why Juice Plus is unique and going into the research or whatever direction you want to take it. Anybody else have an bridging question that they might have used in some conversations? So it's almost kind of like you may have kind of exhausted where you are, but you want to take them a little deeper and a little further. And that's what a bridging question would do. Any more ideas for bridging?
Well, I think I heard this a long time ago, and I like it. Is, ask them, what do you think taking all this fruits and vegetables would do if you just took it for 4 months? What do you think it would do?
Ooh, that's excellent. And I think, Linda, that's a really good question. Maybe if you're sensing someone's like, I don't know if I need it or not, maybe almost using those bridging questions like that to deal with objections. I like that. That's excellent. Any other bridging questions?
Well, they may not have the answer to that. They may say, I have no idea. That's why it would be good to have a follow-up with maybe a chart of how it has been proven after certain lengths of time that it makes a difference.
Well, and we do have that, and it's fresh in mind because at Susan's event yesterday, we showed the meter ray starting at 2 hours all the way through 10 years, what it's doing in your body. So having that handy to say, in 2 hours, the polyphenols are in your system and producing more polyphenols, that chart to me is a powerful chart when it walks through all the different studies. So, bridging back to that research, I think is huge.
Can you add that please to our notes? I have misplaced that somehow.
Yes. I'll put it on the Facebook pages. And I'll put it on Voxer. Last thing is deeper questions. How about anybody have a deeper question that you just keep drilling down? I remember Catherine Lee talking about the more we can drill down with these questions, the more we're going to know that person. And so I think thinking on this whole line of questions is going to help us move the people where we want them to go. And when we do, and I'm going to wrap up, we're almost at 1 here, but when we walk through and take the time to really ask these questions, I believe with all my heart, what we're doing is solidifying this person as a customer. A lot of times we'll get a customer, they'll take it 1 round and then they won't take it anymore. And I think that's on us. We haven't educated them. We haven't gotten to know them to know what their needs truly are and really answered them and really showed them the value of Juice Plus. And we get 4 months to do that. And I think these questions, as we follow up, keeping these different types of questions in mind will be powerful. And we're just going to get better at this skill at following up. And when we do, go through what are the different ways I connect with them? Do I have a system, and am I following the system, setting up that next exposure, asking this series of questions, condensing those exposures? What's going to happen is we're going to build relationships. We're providing education. We're facilitating understanding, and we're moving people forward. Back to Ann's point is we want people to get healthier with us. I love that. So we're moving people forward. That's our goal. Build relationships, provide education, facilitate understanding, and move people forward. That's if we're really doing proper follow-up, that's going to be the result. And not only do I think we're going to have solidified customers, I think we'll turn those people into partners. But it takes time. It takes building relationships, educating them, making sure they understand what Juice Plus is, and then we're going to move them forward. So let's do a great job, man. If we're working this hard to make 90 connections, let's do a phenomenal job on this follow-up process so that we can maximize our benefits 100%.